Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Hands Off My Hobo Rocket. It's Monday after the Super Bowl, so that means it's officially baseball season. Yes, football season's finally over. So baseball season's about to start in 7 days, a week from now, when pitchers and catchers report. So, ladies, if you know how to get to a guy's heart that's a baseball fan, say those 4 words. Next. NHL season is still on. The NBA trade deadline is in 3 days. So I look forward to seeing the big moves that come from that, including what the Cavs do now that they've been destroyed on multiple occasions, and how the Warriors are sputtering just a bit. But, obviously, the elephant in the room, the Super Bowl just happened, and Nick Foles went from backup to MVP. So I just want to quickly discuss this because I think it's kind of important to take a look at what actually happened in the Super Bowl and why the Eagles won. Because this Super Bowl was supposed to be kind of like in the bag for the Patriots. They had a really good defense. They had this insane offense led by Brady, but it just didn't happen. And it's kind of strange. The Eagles outscored the Patriots in every quarter except for the third. So in the first quarter, 9-3, perfectly fine. Second quarter, 13-9, still had that lead. Third quarter, 7-14. So New England actually outscored Philadelphia that in only one quarter, and after that, the fourth quarter, 12-17. The final was 41-33. Arguably one of the biggest plays, if not the biggest, is the strip sack on Tom Brady in the fourth quarter. That led to a Jake Elliott 46-yard field goal, the longest field goal by a rookie in the Super Bowl. He broke the old Steelers record in '79. So here's the thing. The expected point total for offense-wise, actually just in general, the Patriots underscored. It's funny. They put 33 on the board. They underscored. The Eagles overscored, which is the funnier thing. Really, this game, in my mind, should have ended up probably maybe 45-30 if things went the Patriots' ways, but they didn't. And just a kind of a little fact. Win probability wise, the Patriots only really the most probable they were going to win was in the first quarter when it was 3-0. Philadelphia, they had a 68.3 chance of winning. That was their biggest win. That was their biggest percentage chance of winning. The second biggest was in the fourth quarter, when they actually took a 1-point lead, and it was 66.4. But for most of the night, Philadelphia had the lead. New England had the lead once. And also, Philadelphia dominated win probability-wise. And if you look at just team stats-wise, first downs, Philly had 25, New England had 29. New England out-offensed Philadelphia. For rushing yards, there were 27 rush attempts for 164 yards. There were 22 rush attempts for 113 yards. So I'm pretty sure the averages kind of average out there. Philadelphia's offensive line kept Nick Foles standing up. It was not sacked at once the whole game. However, for New England, Tom Brady was sacked once, and that led to a fumble. It was a strip sack, and they lost it. Net passing yards, Brady had 500 passing yards. 505 technically, but he had 500 passing yards. Nick Foles, 374 passing. Well, 373. The other 1 yard goes to Trey Burton. Let's see. Turnovers, yes, Nick Foles actually did have turnover. Tom Brady, obviously, the huge turnover. But Nick Foles threw an interception. I want to say in the second quarter. I really want to say. But other than that, it was a turnover-free game. Penalties. Philadelphia was penalized 6 times for 35 yards. New England, 1 penalty, and it was their only offensive penalty the entire postseason. It was a false start on Gronk. So one of the things I kind of have to think here is, now yes, my Steelers fan bias is going to be in here, is why was there only one penalty called on New England on offense the whole postseason? That's 1, 2, 3 games they go without an offensive penalty. Try doing that in the regular season. If they do that in the regular season, the league, like all news outlets, are blowing up because that's just never done. That never happens to a team. In the postseason, it does. So I'm kind of pointing a wary finger at the NFL, saying, "Hey, this is kind of iffy right here." Third down conversions, Philadelphia 10 of 16. It's pretty good in my mind. New England 5 of 10, could be better. Fourth down conversion 2 for 2 for Philadelphia. So if you do the math there, that's 4 times they didn't convert on. There's 4 times they had to kick a field goal or they didn't get anything out of it. New England 1 for 2. That's pretty big in my mind. Time of possessions, Philadelphia had the ball more. That's all that matters. Philly had the ball more, and I think that's how they won. They kept the ball out of Tom Brady's hand. Philadelphia had the ball for 34-ish minutes. New England, 26-ish minutes. That's 9, 10, like 8, 9, 10 minutes with the ball out of Tom Brady's hand. That's huge, because in that time, he can easily put up 2 scores. And if that happens, we have a different outcome. New England would be having their 6th trophy, and Philadelphia would be rioting. But I want to look at passer ratings for a second, because Nick Foles was 28 of 43 for 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 0 sacks. His longest was a 55-yard bomb. He has a 106.1 rating. Tom Brady was the better quarterback in my mind. He was 28 of 48, so 5 more pass attempts, 5 more drops. 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 ints, 1 sack, 5 rushing yards. His longest was 50. I think that was to Chris Hogan, or maybe Amendola. He had a 115.4. He, in my mind, was the better quarterback, but he threw some very iffy balls. He threw a lot of passes that were iffy that could have been picked off. I think there were 3 or 4 passes that were almost intercepted by Philadelphia, who I think don't have the best secondary. Their front 4 is significantly better than the secondary, and their secondary got burned many times, a lot, by Chris Hogan, Amendola, and Gronk. That's huge. And let's see, defensively, one of the biggest things that happened is Malcolm Butler did not take 1 snap. Actually, wait, that's wrong. Malcolm Butler did not take any defensive snaps. That's right. He only played special teams. That's crazy in my mind. You get your number 1 cornerback. It's your lockdown cornerback. That's a Super Bowl MVP cornerback, and he does not take a defensive snap. Bill Belichick, I don't know what your game plan is, but that's something that's pretty iffy in my mind. And as for kind of like turnovers, there was 1 punt that whole game by the Eagles. There was 1 sack the whole game that led to a turnover. 2 Eagles possessions didn't lead to any points out of 10. 2 out of 10 led to no points. 1 punt and 1 interception. The Patriots, 5 out of their 11 possessions didn't end in points. 2 of those were because the half was ending. 1 was because of a strip sack. That's 3. 1 was because of a missed field goal. That's 4. And the 5th one was their final drive that had a Hail Mary to the end zone. Actually, it was almost caught. The Philadelphia Eagles almost played it perfectly, but the ball had a lucky bounce and it hit off the Eagles' helmet and it went back up in the air. It was batted down, but it hit off the Eagles' helmet, went up in the air. Actually, I want to say it was Chris Hogan had a chance to dive and catch the ball, or Amendola. However, it bounced, so obviously incomplete pass. There were 4 extra points or 2-point conversions that were failed. That was like the only time the defense could stop anyone in the red zone. Pretty crazy. Nick Foles, his average yards per pass was more than Drew Brees' through the entire season. Drew Brees this year had an 8.1. So on every pass, on average, you would expect Brees to get 8.1 yards. Nick Foles had 8.7. Not bad for a backup. Not that bad. Tom Brady, he had 10.5. 10.5, which was, significantly better than Brees' and Foles. And, I still think Brady had played the best Super Bowl game by a quarterback ever. That's just plain fact right there. And he lost. That's the first time he's ever thrown for more than 500 yards and lost, regular season or playoff. I think that's the first time any quarterback has done that. Now, I don't think that's a fact, but I'm pretty sure. That's crazy. That just shows you how much trust there was in Nick Foles and how much Nick Foles employed his RPO. His run-pass option scheme gave Bill Belichick nightmares because it split the field in half. So there are so many times where he would see the linebackers splitting in half, and there'd be a huge gap. Oh, hand off to J.J. Oh, hand off to LeGarrette Blount. And they'd get 6, 7, 8 huge yards on the ground just because the RPO splits the defense in half. And when that didn't work, RPOs are usually, hand off, slant in. No, now in this case, he actually did the exact opposite. Fake the handoff, fade out. And Bill Belichick just played the slant in. But really, it was streak out or fade out. And Nick Foles played those perfectly. And the interception that Foles threw, I don't think is on Foles. It's on whoever number 17 was for the Eagles. I want to say that's Alshon Jeffrey, probably, or Torrey Smith, one of the two. It's on them because they had the perfect opportunity to make the catch. He had it right here in his arm. He just kind of, when he landed, he kind of just flung his arms up. And the ball, took a lucky tumble into Pat's arms. Also, speaking of rushing, LeGarrette Blount was the only player to get more than 9 rushing attempts. Both teams, let's see. Yeah, both teams used 3 running backs. Eagles, Blount, Ajayi, and Corey Clement, who had an amazing game for an undrafted rookie. Pats split between White, Lewis, and Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead also had an insane game. For a running back, which is Corey Clement, he had 100 receiving yards. In 16 games, he had 123. And 39 in the 2 playoff games. He had 100 in the Super Bowl. Pretty crazy. Let's see. I think there's also one other crazy stat. Yes. Stephen Gostkowski was 5 of 7. 5 of 7. That's a guy who's won Super Bowls with his foot. He went 5 of 7. He missed an extra point, shanked a field goal. They left 4 points on the field right there. If they got those 4 points, it's 41-37, and Tom Brady has an even better opportunity because the Eagles probably don't get 7 of those points because Gostkowski missed a field goal. Or let's say 3. Then it's 38-37, and Brady gets 1 extra drive. I'm just saying that, even though it's small, 5-7 in the Super Bowl. Also, so, you got to factor in nerves, and also the turf they played on. I think AstroTurf or something, and the logos were giving kickers issues. Still 5-7 by a hardy veteran against Jake Elliott, a rookie, and Jake Elliott, he only missed one field goal. So the Eagles really just they just won this game. The Patriots didn't lose this game. The Patriots played to win, and in my mind, they won the game. The Eagles just tried harder. They played harder. And I think, Gronk was targeted a total of 15 times. That's pretty crazy. 15 times Brady went to Gronk. That's a lot of trust. That's a lot of chemistry you have there. That's a lot of chemistry. Scoring wise, nothing crazy scoring wise. But Nick Foles just played one of the greatest game he's ever had. And I strongly believe the MVP deservedly goes to Nick Foles, because he led that offense on a tirade. Had them put up 41 points against the Pats defense. Now, yes, you could always make the argument Malcolm Butler wasn't playing. That's not on Malcolm Butler. That's on Bill Belichick in the game plan. That's just my 2 cents on the Super Bowl. Now, we get to talk about something even better, and in my mind more important. We're talking about the Olympics. That's right, folks. We're talking the Olympics. I'm so excited because it's just snuck up on everyone, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, NBA, football. But then there's Olympics, which is just yay. I'm so excited. Even though it's pretty, it's going to stink because one of my favorite sports, hockey, I don't get to see NHL players. That's like the one bad thing I see about the Olympics. That's it. No NHL players. Everything else is amazing. Lindsey Vonn is back. Shaun White's back. Women's hockey is going to be absolutely insane because you have this USA juggernaut versus this Canadian dynasty. Men's hockey, it's kind of like a poor man's 1980s, like Placid. Russian juggernaut with ex-NHL players and actually good hockey players versus this Canadian squad of mediocre former NHL players and this U.S. squad of college students mixed with minor league hockey players and some players playing in foreign leagues because they want more of a challenge. And then you get Sweden just with Lundqvist's brother, who's a great forward, and Rasmus Dahlin, the projected number 1 draft pick. But then you get, obviously the United States does not have its prowess in figure skating anymore, but on the slopes they have, they have the advantage on the slopes. Biathlon, I don't think they have any chance really. Curling-wise, men's curling is going to be duked out between the United States and Canada and probably Denmark or Switzerland or Sweden. Women's is going to go to Canada or to, I want to say, Britain or Sweden or Denmark. One of those 3. The United States doesn't really have a chance there. But I just actually want to do a little medal recap just to see who's been killing it. So first, in men's hockey, the most gold medals goes to Andrei Kumatov. So he played for the unified team, the ex-USSR team. He played in 84, 88, and 92. So those are in Sarajevo, Calgary, and Albertville. And he won gold in all 3. Next, tied a bunch of guys, a bunch of Russians. You have Igor Kravchuk, 2 golds and a silver and a bronze. After that, you get the Big Red Machine. Vladislav Fedosov, Alexei Kasanov, Krutov, and Sergei Markov. If any of you have heard of the Miracle on Ice, those names should ring a bell because that's who a bunch of college students beat. And in recent history, well, 2014 was probably the biggest flop and failure for the United States. Probably because I don't think they picked Phil Kessel. Number one thing, have Phil Kessel on your team if you want to win a championship. The Penguins can tell you that's a winning strategy. But yeah, Sochi 2014, Canada beat Sweden. Yeah, Sweden in the gold medal round. Finland won bronze. Sweden obviously won silver. 2010, Canada beat the United States. I believe that was the infamous Sidney Crosby goal set up by Juro McGinley. And then Finland won bronze. In Turin in 2006, most people forget that Turin had a Winter Olympic Games. Sweden won, and Finland and the Czech Republic rounded up the medal count. Finland with silver and Czech Republic with bronze. Salt Lake City, Canada regained their prowess, winning gold, beating the United States, and then Russia picked up the bronze. And as we continue going back in time, there was 5 straight Olympics that were won by the Russians, the USSR. Let's actually make that clear. By the Soviet Union. Obviously, that streak ended in Lake Placid in 1980. Then there was a 12-year hiatus of the Winter Olympics, and then it was brought back at Albertville in 1992 when the ex-USSR or the European Union ex-USSR amalgamation team won and beat Canada. That's men's ice hockey. Let's go to the real one that's actually important, women's ice hockey. And this is gonna be great because we have Canada, who's won 4 straight Olympic golds. 4. USA has come runner-up 3 of those 4 times. Sweden came runner-up in 2006. And in Nagano, it's hard to say that. USA won gold. That was the first time women's hockey was allowed. Canada came in second with silver, and Finland with the bronze. But I truly believe this is the year for the United States women's hockey team. They've had so many good women players that can skate fast. That have really soft hands, really good hands. They're just so smart with the puck. And on defense, they have so many reliable defensemen. In goal, they have, I think, one of the greatest goalies in women's hockey. I really think that they can really just beat this Canadian juggernaut. And I want to believe. And my main reason believing that is because of Hillary Knight. Hillary Knight, in my mind, is the best women's hockey player ever to play the game. And thankfully, she is an American. And as someone who is like Indian but technically now lives in America, I am so proud that Hillary Knight is an American because she is going to help lead the United States team to their second ever, first in over 20 years, in 20 years actually, gold medal in women's hockey. That's my prediction. That's what I'm saying. Now, we get to the real sports. Do you think maybe hockey might be the real sport? No, it's actually curling. I'm just joking, yeah. Curling is obviously, a lot of people are just like, oh, what's the whole point of curling? It's actually pretty cool, pretty interesting if you watch it. Kevin Martin, obviously Canadian legend. Canada in men's has won 3 straight. It used to be the Swiss that dominated. Norway had their 15 minutes of fame in 2002 at Salt Lake. Canada's been killing it. Great Britain plays pretty well. Oh, plays pretty well. Curls pretty well, but I think it's Canada's again. Now for figure skating, yes. For the individual woman, it's always between I think Russia, Korea, and Japan and Canada. Um, I don't know about how much. I don't know. Actually, I haven't done much research on this, so I don't know how good the contestants are going to be this year. But I'm just gonna go out on a whim and say the Koreans are gonna win in individual women. The Russian are gonna win in individual men, and then mixed partner or pairs mixed. I believe China's gonna win. Yep, China will not win gold in individuals, but they will win gold in pairs. Yep, they won gold and silver in Vancouver. Russia won gold and silver in Sochi, and I think it's time for the Chinese to regain that. The United States will not medal. I do not think the United States has their Sasha Cohen. They don't have the next reincarnation of her, sadly. Don't think so. And with that, we're going to look a bit about the politics of the Olympics. Because the Olympics, obviously, are one of the great shining moments of human history and human how we work. It's kind of a unification where a bunch of countries come together and they all are saying, all right, we're going to compete here for these superficial prizes, but what more importantly we're going to do is we're going to put aside our differences and really say, you know what, we might be in this pseudo Cold War, but really we're just going to compete and we're going to be thankful we get the opportunity, and we're going to be grateful and respectful of our opponents. I guess it's one of the reasons why ice hockey is one of the great Winter Olympic sports, because it requires a handshake at the end, always. It requires that the winning team goes to meet the losing team. At the end of any Olympic game, there will be handshakes, and I think that's a sign of it's a great sign of respect. I really wish other sports did it. Where I know curling does it. At the end of a curling match, you go and congratulate, or you go and just thank your opponent for saying, "Hey, you put up a good competition. Good job." Just like how in like Little League baseball, you'd line up on the base paths and you'd meet at home plate and you'd high five and say, "Good game, good game, good game, good game." The Olympics is all about that. However, it's always been political. Ever since probably the Cold War, or even let's actually go back to the this is now normal Olympics, Summer Olympics, the Nazi Germany games, extremely political, and then the Cold War games, 1980, like Placid, extremely political. I remember that there was I wasn't alive then. I remember reading and listening and hearing that there was a point in time where the Russians were almost not going to show up to the Lake Placid Olympics. The best team in ice hockey, arguably ever, was not gonna show up to the Winter Olympics to show their dominance, and the United States was like, no, we want Russia to come, because even though it was inherently political, there was still a sort of respect. Going to the Olympics, not going to the Olympics is disrespectful. Going to the Olympics is saying, I respect you. Even though I'm still at this, pseudo-proxy war with you, or we have our disagreements, I respect you as a person, as a country. Now, if you don't show up, that is just a blatant sign of disrespect. Because you're going to a neutral ground, a neutral territory, where there's, it's athletes, it's just normal citizens talking and discussing and doing what they do for a living. If you don't want to send your citizens over to do what they do for a living, there's no reason for other countries to respect you. So that is I think the politics behind the Olympics, and why I believe it's so important. I think it's more important than, a national sport. For example, the Super Bowl. So many people were getting hyped up about the Super Bowl. I'm just, sitting there waiting for the Olympics because, yes, the Super Bowl, it's great and all. You got America's game. No, not America's game. Football's not America's game. Baseball is. You get, the juggernaut powerhouse NFL with all their propaganda and advertising and their big money putting on this spectacular show for all their fans of the two best teams. And yet I think I only saw 2 Olympic commercials. And NBC is airing the Olympics, but there are only 2 Olympic commercials. I think that's something that was wrong. There needed to be more advertisement for the Olympics because as a citizen of whatever country you're in, when you see an athlete going to the Olympics, you should see someone who's dedicated at least 4 years. At least 4 years of their life training to represent their country. Not some privately owned team, not some wealthy rich guy or girl. No. They're representing their country. They're representing you, the citizen. I think that's extremely important for people to understand about Olympic athletes. And that's why I'm always so impressed with, the cordiality, if that's a word, how cordial the Olympic athletes are to each other. Because you could see, you rarely see, I'm going to use hockey a lot as an example, you rarely see in the Olympic hockey any fights breaking out. The one, there are penalties for fighting, but you rarely see them because they understand that this person is representing their country and they're going to act like that and they're going to play like that. And if their country says, cool, fight your opponent and beat them to a pulp, they'll do that. But no country will ever tell one of their players to do that because that's not how their country is. If you see the United States, Patrick Kane going and beating the living just crap out of, a Canadian player, that's going to look bad for the Olympic hockey team and the United States Olympic hockey team in the United States. The actions of the athletes have ramifications on the country. That's why the athletes are so polite, are so cordial, are so thankful of the moment. They take this limelight, this moment, and they cherish it. In a recent interview with Blake Wheeler, when he talked about how he's missing the Olympics to play for the United States, he's like, yeah, it's a real bummer. I wish I could. I wish I could represent my country. Because that's an honor. It's an honor to play for a team that is your country, that is selected to represent, for America, you kind of represent freedom. Freedom, prosperity, wealth, heritage. That's huge. So I really think more people need to really recognize the Olympics, especially, a lot of people say, oh, the Winter Olympics is just like skiing and that's it. No. The Winter Olympics, I think, in my mind, are sometimes harder than the Summer Olympics because the Winter Olympics have sports that take, toll on you. It's environmental tolls. Just look at skiing, alpine skiing, or snowboarding. Shaun White, Lindsey Vonn broke her leg representing her country, and she's back 4 years later. That's you could see an NFL player break their leg and say, I'm out, I'm done, I've got my money, I'm done. Lindsey Vonn has her medals. She has world fame recognition as one of the greatest skiers of all time, but she's back. She wants to compete for her country because her country has given her the opportunity. And every country has given their athlete the opportunity to play for them and represent them. Anyway, with that being said, I'll get off my soapbox about the Olympics. I'm still very excited. I want to see the United States women's hockey win. I want to see that gold medal in Hillary Knight's hands. That is what I want to see. The Olympics are starting soon. I actually want to pull up the date for you guys. The Winter Olympics start on February 9th. So it's the 5th today. That's the opening ceremony on the 9th. So that's in 4 days. So if you're watching this and you want like the too long didn't read or too long didn't listen version of this, watch the Olympics and cheer on your country and cheer on all the athletes. They deserve it. They worked hard for it. They sacrificed for it, and cherish that moment with them. Just by watching, you're cherishing it because you're watching them do something they love, do something they do something that's part of their lifestyle. If there was like an Olympic sport for like students, it'd be like who could study the hardest, and you were watching that student probably would be like, man, I feel great. If there's an Olympic sport for like officers and policemen, and you're watching, they would feel absolutely amazing. And these athletes are no different. They feel absolutely amazing, and they cherish that they're on live television, and people in their country are watching, people across the globe are watching, everyone is watching, and they're cheering for them and rooting for them. So, with that being said, thank you very much for tuning in. I will see all of you on Wednesday. We'll be talking NBA trade deadline, and the schedule might get a bit mixed up. It might not be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I'll be having surgery in 15 days. So there might be a week or two where you might see 1 or 2 videos, maybe not, or podcasts or episodes, not 3, just because I'm losing my right arm functionality. With that being said, thank you everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Stay positive and watch the Olympics. See ya.